G'day guys, it's another round of cheap crap from China. Plenty of packages today, so let's go through them. First up we have a camera. So I started grabbing a few different small cameras from China just to check them out, see what ones are good quality, see what ones aren't. One of the items I'm waiting on is a 4-camera capture card. I got one of the old USB adapters, easy cap things that take 4 video inputs to a USB, but these things don't have drivers, obviously, for Windows 10, basically for anything since Windows 7, and even then it was only on the 32-bit version. So in lieu of setting up a machine just to run this, and I have tried running it in a VM and passing through this USB device and no go. So I think I'll leave that one aside, and I'm getting a PCI adapter which also handles some of the HD formats of analog video cameras. Apparently they can do up to 1080p in analog composite video, which seems a bit insane to me, but yeah, that's kind of why I want to check this out. But so this camera was made to be a first-person view camera for a like model aircraft or such. But it runs on 12 volts, NTSC, and 700 TV lines. I don't know if that's going to focus. Really, camera? Oh. Okay, I've got an adapter cable and an adapter cable. So that's standard CCTV input, so BNC for video and barrel jack for power. So I guess that plugs in. Yep. And then, okay, so this must be if you want to use one of the first-person view sort of transmitter units, which are pre-built, which I would like to give a go as well, but I'm clearly lacking some information about them because there's a lot of different types that operate on different frequencies, and you never seem to be able to get the transmitter and receiver in the same package. So I'm not sure how you're meant to match them up, but whatever. Oh, this focus is useless. Let's go manual. Alright, so 120 by 508. Or 120 by 596 in PAL. Interesting, usually NTSC is a higher resolution, but okay. So that'll be something I'll try and make a video comparing them all in the future. But yeah, I think this one was only about maybe $10, maybe like $8, something like that. So just have a play around with. I think I've got one of the other ones handy here. Yep. So this was another one I got recently where much smaller. And I've at least given this one a try, and it does give a decently good image. It is a like fisheye lens, so it's very sort of wide angle and distorted, but yeah, not bad for the size certainly, and the price. That was only like $6. Here's another one. This is an actual outdoor infrared illuminated camera. I mainly got this because in theory you would think a camera with infrared illumination won't have an infrared cut filter. So that's what I'm really interested with in this camera. But this is one of those ones where it's an analog HD 720p camera. So it is still composite video output, but at 720p. So yeah, I'm still not entirely sure how that works or how well that works, but I guess I'll find out. On to the next one. Ah, this is part of my little lab box set that I'm putting together, all different adapters of various kinds. And so these are TRRS, otherwise known as 4-pin stereo jacks. Just broken out to screw terminals, so very handy for testing and prototyping and such. There's been a bunch of products come out on the market recently that work as phone, like modules for your phone to plug in and use remotely, that communicate via a serial connection over the headphone jack. Just, I guess, literally making tones to transmit bits. And yeah, it's just something I wouldn't mind playing around with. One of those tools to keep handy in the toolbox. So. Ah. Interesting, they've stuck the calibration sticker to the disposable anti-static bag. But sure, why not? This is a voltage reference. So these analog devices, what is it, a 584 voltage reference, they are harvested parts. They pull these out of old sort of telecoms gear or wherever they end up getting them, and sort of resell the parts on these little breakout boards so that hobbyists can start playing around with them. So handy for calibrating a meter or whatever such. But the good thing about them is that the actual voltage reference itself, they normally have a burn-in process or an aging process where you have to run them for 1,000 hours or whatever it is before you can actually trust their readings. And so, being that it's a old unit, it's already had that burn-in process done. So it's actually pretty much ready to go as is. Yeah, I didn't think that one would be too exciting. Just a bunch of washers. Next. Okay, interesting. These were supposed to be NEMA 17 motor mounts. But they look kind of small to me. Here's some NEMA 17 to be prepared earlier. Here's an actual NEMA 17 motor mount. Yeah, okay. They just look fairly small. But yeah, that's a decent chunk of aluminium. These are steel, so that's probably a bit nicer, but various mounting plates for building 3D printers or whatever. This is sort of a little kit that I've been building up of spare motors. This is a tri-wing screwdriver, they call it. I'll stop it. so it's rather like a Phillips head, but with only 3 blades instead of 4. And so these are used on a lot of the new iPhones and other mobile devices and various bits and bobs. They're one of those things you can use a one of those bit sets, but a lot of the time the screw will end up being recessed and you can't get to it, or the bits are poor quality and will just fail. This dedicated driver was like $1.20, I think. But I figured I can just chuck in the toolbox, that way it's there when I need it. I have a lot of little drivers and adapters like that, which means my toolbox is overflowing, but sure, whatever. USB adapters. So this set, I was very surprised at the price. Mini USB to female USB, mini USB to male USB, male to female. Why would you ever want that? Mini USB to micro USB, mini USB to male, mini USB male, okay. Mini USB male to USB female, USB female to female, female to micro USB, male to micro USB, and male to male. I think this whole set was like $3. So when combined with the little USB leads, so these are some USB leads I got previously, where it's literally just a USB jack to the alligator clips. So this way I can do micro USB to alligator clips, or any such combination of. So yeah, I figured this set was handy enough to just to grab it for $3 or whatever. A nice companion to those alligator clip leads. Okay. Dear customer, we hope you sincerely like it. We beg that you do not leave us low ratings. Yeah, okay. More adapters. Simple ones here, B and C to screw terminals. Pretty self-explanatory really. Again, I'm building up a kit of all various adapters just so I have them on hand when needed. Cool. Alright, 2 more left. Arduinos. Oh, that China smell. Okay, so that would be an Arduino Nano, I guess. Yep, looks like it. Mini USB. And this would be a Pro Micro that does not have USB. Pro Micro or Pro Mini, I always mix them up. Maybe Pro Mini. But yeah, you have to use the in-circuit serial programmer stuff to program the mini board, but then it's a lot smaller. I do equate these pretty much to the STM8 modules, which you can still get for under $1, whereas this is sort of $2 or $3. And the STM8 has very similar capabilities. Similar ADC speed and resolution, similar processor speed, similar flash memory, similar RAM, just, yeah, everything. So yeah, the STM8 modules are really good to play around with. The only downside with them is the compiler for them. People use SDCC rather than GCC, which in that case limits you to raw C code, not C++. So while they've built a board support package for the Arduino IDE, so you can use the Arduino IDE and just sort of select STM8 and program the devices, no worries. The problem with it is that the Arduino code is actually subtly different, whereas most devices supported through the Arduino IDE like the STM32, ESP8266, DigiSparks, etc., they will still use the standard Arduino classes, so like serial.write. For the STM8, there is no classes, so you can't do that. So they've instead made a full compatibility suite where things are namespaced using underscores. So you have serial underscore write, and yeah. So it's a bit different, but at the end of the day, all the functionality is there, and it's not a big deal to convert your code between the two. So, and certainly for small projects, having a complete microcontroller board, both the chip and the power supply and everything all on the one board, and it has a USB jack, which is only used for power, but still handy. Yeah, and they're like 69 cents or something like that. Absurd, including shipping. Aha, I've been waiting for these for a long time. So these are illuminated power switches and switches. So this is for the power supply project. I figure I'm going to have sort of a switch on, switch off for mains power input, switch on, switch off for the battery power input. There will also be a selector rocker switch on each of the two power supplies to select whether they're coming from mains or battery, but so I can hard kill the mains power supply to make sure there won't be any accidents or whatever such. And these two orange ones will be for diodes on the output. So I'll have a from the power supply through a big chunky diode, or possibly a few in parallel, which will then go to the output pin, which then lets me charge batteries and whatnot with the power supply. But those diodes introduce a voltage drop. So these switches I added in as bypasses. So I'll be able to press the switch on and short out across the diode to remove that voltage drop in cases where I know the diode isn't required. So that's just a little addition for it. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time with more cheap crap from China.